the Chiefs taking on the Jets.
Halfway through the fourth. Wilson lost it on that snap. And was that recovered by Wharton inside? Yes. Rashawn Wharton comes away with it for Kansas City. It had been such a good night for Zach Wilson, and a mistake there, a snap.
To be driving right there and to drop a snap, I cannot do that. I lost us that game, and I cannot do that.
And now, here's Rob Dibble.
You want to start with the Cowboys, or do you want to start with the Jets?
Well, Patriot fans would love for you to start with the Jets.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I love my Cowboys, but their defense is outstanding. The offense looked good against Arizona. Some of the guys didn't show up to play. I don't know how to rate their team. I just try to rate the Cowboys. That was one of their better games that they dominated on both sides of the ball. But, the Patriots are in a tough division, and now Buffalo dominates Miami. And so where do you go from there? I mean, everybody thought Miami was going to dominate the division. I think the Jets last night, with Kansas City and that game, that anybody can win that division. Anybody can finish last. I just think that's one of the tougher divisions in football. I think that the NFC East is one of the toughest divisions in football right now. I think the Eagles are still better than the Cowboys. But the Patriots, that was a bad beating.
Well, with the Bills, they could be undefeated with the loss to the New York Jets in the first game of the season. I'm sure they want that one back. However, any given Sunday, you never know. Even if Aaron Rodgers breaks his Achilles off, he can still win a football game, or they can still win a football game with defense and special teams. With the Patriots and their three-point production that they put on the road against a really good defense, very opportunistic defense that jumps routes and scores themselves. I've kind of just seen this act from the New England Patriots now for a couple of years.
Right.
Like, I'm not scared of this offense. Mac Jones hasn't given me anything to make me feel like, whoa, gosh, we got to play this guy this week. I feel like defenses right now are licking their chaps against the New England Patriots.
Their offense is garbage. 55 points is the lowest. It's lower than the Jets' output so far for the Patriots offense through 4 games. And they've allowed 97. Only the Dolphins have allowed more points, 119, but they've scored 150.
Yeah.
So when you're ranking defenses right now, Buffalo Bills have the best defense statistically in that division. They've only allowed 55 points. They've scored 139 points. Then they should be 3-1. So you had 2 at the top of their 3-1, 2 at the bottom of their 1-3. I think the Jets could easily be 2-2. They should have won that game against Kansas City yesterday.
They had a lot of chances.
They had a lot of chances. And Zach Wilson is a stand-up guy. But they had a lot of chances, and you and I discussed this off the air. He needs help. You need some guys to come up with some plays. Even on defense, you need some guys to knock some balls down. They got beat badly a couple times on a couple of those touchdowns, and they're supposed to be a superior defense. So everybody contributes in a loss. Everybody contributes in a win. I can't put this on the one fumble. I don't think that's the defining moment of the game. I think they had chances earlier to score, and they didn't score, and ended up, with not coming away with points here and there. But that's football. I mean, the Patriots right now, they don't look like the Patriots of old. They don't have guys that are stepping up on both sides of the ball. That's the difference in years past. Do I think Bill Belichick's time has come and gone? That's up to Patriots fans to decide. But I think that a lot of these younger coaches try to invigorate their players on almost every play. It's the same thing in baseball, same thing in basketball. It is a new breed of athlete that you have to motivate individually. You can't motivate a defense or an offense like you could in the mid-'80s with Buddy Ryan. Buddy Ryan was the coach. He was the /1B head coach, and his guys would run through fire for him. I think it's different in the NFL. It's different in the MLB. These guys are brands. You have to work within the confines of each guy's ego, his brand, what he's doing off the field. Can I get this guy to show up? I mean, it's just I think that the Patriots right now are kind of lost where you're in between old school and new school.
I'm not sold on Bill O'Brien being an offensive coordinator or just even directing an offense. I don't know if I want to put it all on Mac Jones, but this guy's had a lot of opportunities. He's gotten a lot more rope than a lot of these quarterbacks that I've been hearing all through the week. Like, we count college kids in general, too. Like, I just heard so many guys after a couple of weeks, whether you're 0-2, whether you're 1-3, where you lose a game and the quarterback maybe makes a mistake at the end of the game that does cost you. It's not time to just cut the guy and throw him away. We would have thrown Zach Wilson away 2 weeks ago. I thought he outplayed Patrick Mahomes. Statistically, obviously you can say that, but even through the course of the game, I thought that this guy, who, by the way, like I've been saying all year, is running for his life, and it doesn't matter what quarterback you put behind that front five, there's going to be leaks in that system, and they were leaking all night. There are a couple of plays that Zach Wilson gets out of the pocket that I think not many people in this league can do that. I don't think Mac Jones could have escaped some of that pressure from last night, but I think you need to have time. And I think that just when you see guys from the first 3 weeks of any season, high school, college, and pro, people can get better. Teams can get better. They can click a little bit different each week, depending on the game plan and the defense they're playing. With the Patriots, I've seen this sorry offense now since Tom Brady has left. It has not gotten any better.
No.
It doesn't matter if you're playing Dallas, the Jets, or when they face Miami coming up soon, even though they've left a lot of points, they better score more than 3 touchdowns, and they're not going to be able to hang. So I think some of these guys are so week to week. I thought this week was a good week for Zach Wilson. It's just unfortunate the way. I mean, I feel for Salah. Salah is like the most stressed out dude in the league right now.
Well, no,
most
he's frustrated
dude.
and
Very
he's
frustrated.
stressed. I mean, he's frustrated with the officials, but you can't put it all on the officials. But getting back to the Patriots, pulling your quarterback in the third quarter.
Got some zappy.
Yeah, you got some zappy in there. Which was the right thing to do. I don't understand the mentality. I guess the media has a job to do at the end of after a game to ask these questions. But as a coach, even when I was a player, there's days you don't have it working. You need to be pulled out of the game. I don't care if it's quarterback, running back. You've got backup running backs. You got backup quarterbacks. Give that guy a shot. Give him a shot to run the offense. This is why I talk to you all the time about having good backups as quarterbacks in the NFL. You never know. Guy could go down with an injury. It's the same as having a bad day. Got to get him out of there. We're putting another guy in. You need a contingency plan. And so Belichick, to try to even explain that, he doesn't have to explain himself. The guy's got all these championships to back up. He doesn't need to justify a move like that.
And he doesn't want to tell his team either.
Right,
I want to keep those two guys guessing.
That's right. But the team deserves another shot. He needs somebody's got a couple of picks, 3 points. All of a sudden, we're going to go in a different direction. There's no biggie behind it. Sometimes you're overthinking you can't micromanage every move that these gentlemen make in the course of a game. Over the course of a season, maybe, but we're a quarter of the way into the season. They don't look good. They've got to make some adjustments. That's the big thing. The Jets, I think the Jets are coming. I think the Jets are getting better week to week. I said this last week about the first 3 weeks. You didn't have much of a preseason. You don't want to play these guys because of injury. One guy plays 75 seconds because he only played 2 sets of downs in the preseason, and he blows out his Achilles. What's plan B? Okay, well, plan B, it's taken a little bit to get better and steadier. So I'd much rather who would you rather have right now, Zach Wilson or Mac Jones running your offense?
I don't know.
I'd rather have Zach Wilson. He looked better
this week, yes.
Against the reigning Super Bowl champions. I judge that guy. I can't judge Mac Jones against my Cowboys because the Cowboys absolutely laid an egg against the backup quarterback last week in Arizona. So how do you judge them week to week? So I'm trying not to. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. But Zach Wilson in the direction he's going right now is better than the direction of Mac Jones.
Yeah, any given Sunday, man. Any given Sunday in this league. The Patriots will be at home once again. They've been last 2 weeks. Let's just give them this little life preserver too. Last week at the Jets, this week at the Cowboys. That's tough for any offense. It really is. But they got to score more than 20 points. I think 20 points is their biggest output. Yeah, that was on the opening day against the Philadelphia Eagles. Home against New Orleans.
And a lot of that was in the second half, by the way.
Good point.
So they made some adjustments at halftime.
Good point. Home against New Orleans next week, and then at Vegas against Old McDaniels, their former offensive coordinator. That should be a game. So then you got Buffalo, then you got Miami. So you're back in the division again. It doesn't get any easier in this league. They just got to figure a little bit more out, a lot more out on offense. Faux show.
Buffalo blowing out Miami. What a great game.
Yeah, it was pegged as being the best game of the week on all of football, but Buffalo put an end to that talk real quick. Josh Allen looked really well, but the defense, I think there's something to say about knowing your opponent and playing not only Tua, but also just that coaching staff and that offense for a couple of years. Again, adjustments in a game plan. I think the Buffalo Bills got a great coaching staff. The McDermott talk, I think, is so absurd. I don't know the people that start that at the beginning of the season. If Buffalo doesn't do good this year, like, give me a break, man. He's one of the best coaches in the league, and kind of showed it yesterday, not only with Josh Allen and Diggs. And again, another thing, can we throw that away, that Diggs and Allen hate each other and there's some kind of drama going on? Yeah,
There's
that's
no drama.
Just talk. But 48-20 your finals, the Buffalo Bills dominate, who thought that may be the new AFC reigning champs if Kansas City doesn't get in there, the Miami Dolphins. But just a great game and a great line. Only 4 incomplete passes from Josh Allen yesterday.
It was unbelievable. And he
4
only had to throw
incompletions.
25 for 320 yards and 3 touchdowns to Diggs. What are you, just singling him out now to make it look like you're friends? No, that's I think
he was open.
Josh Allen, it took him a while to get going, but he looked like Josh Allen again.
Not only that, he spreads the ball around. There's so many guys that got touches yesterday, not only in receiving but also running. They got a lot of weapons. The one thing that was really cool, Damar Hamlin gets back on the field.
Yep.
The first game since Damar Hamlin went to the hospital in
God
Cincinnati.
bless him, man.
That was
Hope
pretty cool to
everything's
see.
fine with that dude.
Now, they also are dealing with an Achilles injury in their secondary as well, so you might see a little bit more of Damar Hamlin, but that's just the league again. Like, you're going to have to fill in some spot every week, some position every week. And like you're saying, you better have a plan B for every single role on that team, because in this league, most likely you're going to be using a lot more plan Bs.
Big game tonight. Seattle comes to New Jersey to play the Giants. And
NFC East.
Not a doubleheader. It's just one game.
NFC East has been the beast of the NFL. Another great game between the Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday as well, on top of your Dallas Cowboys dominating the Patriots. Can the Giants hold form? If they go to 2-2, it looks a lot better in this division than 1-3. The Seattle Seahawks, they give up some points. They give up some points in this league. It's not the old Seahawk defense that you're used to 5 years ago winning Super Bowls. The Giants should be able to move the football. I'm trying to get a Saquon Barkley update here. Doubtful.
That's worse than the Q.
Oh, far worse than the Q.
D is
the D. Ooh,
done.
don't want that.
Not just doubtful, probably done.
Also going to be missing Andrew Thomas. That's no surprise. Offensive tackle is going to be out once again for the New York Giants, but there are several people as well from the secondary of the Seattle Seahawks. You got Kobe Bryant. Kobe with the C. Wouldn't that be awesome? I mean, I know he's not around anymore, but wouldn't it just be awesome to see a Kobe Bryant play some secondary? And again, the Kobe with the K. Kobe with the C, he's going to be doubtful tonight. And Artie Burns, other corner, out for the Seattle Seahawks.
And we're going to spend the rest of the segment after we finish with the NFL talking about Tim Wakefield, but I did want to bring up the Bengals. Joe Burrow off to a terrible start. Tennessee Titans dominate them 27-3. Derrick Henry back to doing Derrick Henry stuff. 18. He had 22 carries for 122 yards, 5.5 yards per carry average, and he's just a monster sometimes.
This is a Vrabel playbook, man. Like, play great D, run the football, old school smash mouth. We suck you in, we throw it over the top to DeAndre Hopkins, or they got that Westbrook Akine in the mix this week as well. As Derrick Henry even throwing a touchdown too in this one.
Yep.
Something's up with Joe Burrow, man.
Dude, he's not right.
He can't plant off that leg that has the calf injury. Teams don't expect him to run. Everybody's playing.
He can't run. He is absolutely, and I can't even say he's hobbled. He has got that thing wrapped.
Yeah.
And they don't probably want him to run, but that just means that something else could be a devastating injury. You could blow the knee out, blow something else out, hurt your arm. Why in the hell are they even putting him out there?
Guys are making plays for him as well. I think Jamar Chase is still playing top-notch football.
Oh my God, Jamar, I feel bad for the dude. After the game, he said, I'm always open.
I agree with that.
Don't question me. I'm always open.
Just throw it up.
Yep.
He'll probably come down with it. But this team and this offense in particular is nothing what they were last year. Not without Joe Burrow's full,
Do you have
healthy
some sound on Tim Wakefield? Did you get that, Veritech? Okay, I didn't want to start talking about Tim Wakefield without allowing some of his teammates to talk. One of the toughest people I've ever known that played the game of Major League Baseball was Jason Veritech. He was asked about the death of his teammate Tim Wakefield passing away from brain cancer at 57. This is some of the interview.
It's horrible. It's horrible for his wife, Bree, Trevor, his family, his friends. I mean, he's a young man.
What can you say about the kind of teammate and friend he was?
I don't know if I've saying anything. I think I'm showing it. I've always said it. Wake, he exemplifies what this uniform is, and it's not just the name on the back; it's the name on the front. It's what he's done in the community, the way he's represented it, where he's respected the game, which goes on to the whole league of being a precious part of what we do, is respect for the game and for your place. He's exemplifies what it means to be a Red Sox and what it means to be a professional. A wonderful dad, great husband. We've been through a lot.
Tim Wakefield on the pass. Jason Veritech on the passing of Tim Wakefield. 57, way too young. Brain cancer. I know it was put out there by Kurt Schilling last week. Nobody, I think, knows what the extent was or how much therapy he had been going through or treatment. And so, I thought it was unexpected. Pedro Martinez said he just was with him last week. So you never know. Cancer is just a hideous thing. And, our thoughts and prayers go out to obviously his kids and his wife and his family and the Red Sox family. This guy, to say he was beloved, he was loved. David Ortiz was crushed. These guys love this guy. And you can't win championships without players like this, not only being unselfish, but being like the matriarch in the family. He was the guy. Everybody leaned on that guy. I can speak to Rick Mailer died at 50 of a heart attack. There was nobody that, other than Ken Griffey Sr., that was more in charge of the youngsters like myself that were kind of doing a whole bunch of other stuff. Jonathan Papelbon talked about this. Kevin Youkilis talked about this, that was the guy coming from Pittsburgh, having experience in the postseason, everything he had to go through. Nobody struggles more than guys that have to go to a knuckleball as a last resort to pitch in the major leagues. Like you brought up, he was an everyday player, turned into a pitcher because he wasn't making it as an everyday player, and comes up with the knuckleball, and obviously one of the greatest pitchers that ever played. Then he went into, I look at it as his versatility. There were times where he had to close for the Red Sox. They put him in the bullpen because he was so versatile and so good. Nobody puts a knuckleballer at closer. Nobody, other than maybe Hoyt Wilhelm, Hall of Famer from years past. That was like the 40s. For this guy to do what he did, be on a couple of world championship teams, but be not only the quiet, reserved gentleman leader, but so loved by his teammates that honestly, when he wasn't even on the roster in the postseason in 07, I was telling you about the interview that Mike Timlin, right after they won, they were asking Wakefield, what are you going to do to celebrate this championship? And he wasn't, on the roster to play. He said, I'm going to celebrate it with my wife. And Mike Timlin grabs the mic and says, we didn't win this without Tim Wakefield. We won this championship for Tim Wakefield. And basically, Timlin broke down, Wakefield were breaking down. But that just shows you how important he was to the fabric of this organization. And then obviously people know the community stuff that he did, how proud he was to be a Red Sox. But damn, it's crushing when you lose any people, but to lose a guy like that from the as an ambassador to baseball, he plays in the Travelers every year. He's always available to do charity stuff. Yeah. I mean, what a stand-up guy. So he will absolutely be missed.
Here's some of the baseball stuff people may not know about Tim Wakefield. He is third all-time in Red Sox history in wins. That is behind Cy Young and Roger Clemens. He is first in innings pitched, where he passes Roger Clemens 3,006 to Clemens' 2,777. He did that in 2010, one of his most special years. He was an all-star in 2009. I say 2010 was most special because he won the award that I think is the most honorable award in all of sports, maybe even all of Major League Baseball, maybe of all sports. He won the Roberto Clemente Award in 2010 as well. Back to his earlier days before he got to the bigs, as Dibbs says, he was one hell of a player, not just a pitcher, one hell of a player. Really didn't even pitch, like Dibbs says. He has the Florida Tech home run record in a season. That was 22 home runs as a first baseman the year he won Most Valuable Player. If you go to Florida Tech, you will see a number 3 that is retired at their ballpark. That is Tim Wakefield's number when he was in college. That retirement was in 2006. The accolades could go on and on, but I think for the common baseball fan, I would say one of the last successful knuckleballers that was worth the price of admission to come to the ballpark to watch. He really was.
Yeah, I mean, R.A. Dickey, Wakefield. I played against Candiotti and Charlie Huff and played with Steve Sparks. It's just, Norm Charlton and I used to always joke about Tom Browning, who just passed away this year. The game's not easy. And even that we possessed throwing 95 miles an hour comfortably, we were nervous to pitch in the major leagues. There's no, I'm not going to lie at all. There's such an insecurity because the people standing in front of you 60 feet away are so talented. And there's balls that went by my face so many times where I was like, I can't believe I got out of the way of that. I should be dead. When you stand out there and you throw 75 or 80 miles an hour, and you're like you said, 3,000 innings with the Red Sox. Yeah, that's not just the Pirates. Right. That's the Red Sox. This guy threw thousands upon thousands of innings of standing on that bump and basically flicking. You dig your fingernails into the baseball. You're not holding it. You're digging your nails into it. You're flicking a knuckleball. Okay, that's how you throw it. And you gotta have the guts to stand out there. You're a man. You're a freaking man to stand out there and do that. And I watched Tom Candiotti or Huff or all these other guys do it. And there's a certain appreciation I think the players within the fraternity have for a guy that throws a knuckleball. And it's incredible to me. And to be almost every one of them humble, quiet, like, okay, people think it's a trick pitch, whatever. You try and throw a knuckleball. I can't. I had to throw it sidearm to push it. But to stand out there and do that, have shots come back at you, be as good as he was for as long as he was, win world championships, be involved in almost winning world championships with the Pirates. It's incredible that guy was once an everyday player that to make it, he chose, okay, I will learn this pitch, which is not easy. He had to, I think he went to Phil Niekro and because he was throwing it too hard. And Phil Niekro was the one that turned his career onto the positive right path of, no, you've got to throw it 75 and let it dance. And I'll never forget this. And Tom Candiotti threw a hard one. He actually had a great curveball that people forget about Candiotti. But you're out there with very little ammunition, right. Very little weaponry, and you got to stand out there and face the best every time you take the mound. I have nothing but the utmost respect for him on and off the field. And like I said, he'll be missed, not just by the Red Sox and I think by everybody in the baseball community. He was a hell of a broadcaster. But you hear Tom Caron talk about, covered the guy for 19 years, worked with him for 12 years. I mean, some people have been around them for more than half of their adult lives. And it's difficult when you lose a family member.
How much did that help Clay Buchholz, Papelbon?
Everybody. Yeah.
I mean, just having that change of speed, you got to deal with 75 in that knuckler, and then the next day or even in the same game, you got to totally change up your approach at the plate because you got to deal with something completely different.
Like I said, I played with guys that weren't gifted with my fastball, and Norm and everybody like that. So Tom Browning never threw harder than 85. He, won 15 games 5 years in a row or more, threw a perfect game. I couldn't throw a perfect game. I think, we've talked about this, that Nolan Ryan had, 7 career no-hitters, and Roger Clemens never threw a no-hitter. It's not easy to do what we did at the major league level, but the guys like Rick Mailer was a specialist when it came to the quick pitch. They had to outlaw it because he would catch the ball, be ready to throw it before you got in the batter's box. There's so much gamesmanship and cerebral fortitude that you have to play the game. And so, like I said, he was struggling, and he went to a guy to mentor him on the art of slowing it down. You have to throw it slower. I mean, I can't even imagine that because I couldn't throw slow. I couldn't throw slow to first base when I was throwing over there. That was one of my biggest phobias. I didn't want to fire it down the right field line. I mean, we all battle our insecurities and our demons. And this guy's standing out there doing that, or Huff, or any of these other guys. And, yeah, you take a beating. Huff gave up one of the home runs to Reggie in 77. His 3 homers in the World Series one of them was off a knuckleballer. I mean, those dudes are standing out there, and some nights when it's not dancing, when it's not working, and it's just coming in there, it's BP. It's BP. And you have to be able to recover. They talk about you got to have a short memory. Nobody has a short memory. You remember every bad outing. It sticks with you more than the positive outings because you're supposed to be good. But this guy, he was as good to his family, as good to the community of the Boston area and his teammates. When you're trying to mentor guys, not everybody's going to accept your critique or your instruction. And he's trying to teach these guys listen, it's not always going to go your way. It's like dealing with the youngsters I'm dealing with. Sometimes they don't understand, why am I failing? Sometimes you got to fail a lot to succeed. This is one of the greatest at our game, winning 200 games. Like you said, being third on the all-time win list on one of the oldest traditional teams in Major League Baseball history. It says a lot about this guy's perseverance. I look at Jamie Moyer. Jamie Moyer's another guy I idolize. I think the best pitchers are the Wakefields and the Moyers and the Brownings that have the Tommy Johns that can go out there with less than what I went out there with, or like Nolan Ryan or Doc Gooden or Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson. You think it's hard to be Randy Johnson, throw 100 and be 6'10"? I mean, at the beginning of his career, he couldn't hit the side of a barn. You know where he went? Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan, for 2 months, mentored him and mentally made him a major league pitcher that eventually went to the Hall of Fame. So I just think Wakefield exemplified all of that stuff and being a great human being as well. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Football blues.
No.
UConn's got them. Patriots got them.
Oh, gosh, UConn.
And we'll talk about some other people that might be getting distracted at the NFL level.
Yeah.
We'll talk about all that stuff next on the Rob Dibble Show with Ben Darnell on your afternoon drive. Kurt Kaplan on the ones and twos.